resistance is futile.
Boldly going where no show has gone before. This is The Week in Geek with David D. Squared and Brian Held. Heard live on News Talk 99.5 WRNO and the iHeartRadio app. Here are your hosts, Brian Held and D. Squared.
Greetings, people of Earth. This is The Week in Geek, your source for geek and pop culture news that's trending now. I'm your host, D Squared, along with
Brian Held.
Brian Held, what's kicking chicken?
Oh, man, look, just trying to get ready for Christmas in 2 days. Are you ready?
No.
No. What?
So let's get out of here. Because I got to do some shopping before the stores close. It's 7 o'clock on a Sunday.
All right, well, you want to lay out the show real quick?
Yeah, sure. Let's lay out the show.
All right.
As always, we'll open up with This Week in Geek History. You're not paying attention.
Right.
Top nerd news. And then we got 2 guests, right?
Well, so we got Skungy. He's coming in. He's going to talk some video games. And then
all right.
2 guests.
I'm going to leave when he shows up.
Right.
Just FYI.
Okay, fair enough. First, we have Morla Gorrondona. She's a voice actress for She-Ra, Princesses of Power.
Cool.
And then David Alpay, who is a Wizard World guest, which is coming up January 4th through 6th at the Ernest Morial Convention Center.
He's in Vampire Diaries.
Yes.
The chicks dig that.
Right. One thing I need to mention real quick is our prize winners from our giveaways that we've been doing all month long. Last week, we didn't mention it. Our winner was Autumn Lee Montgomery, and she got her prizes last night. And then this week, our winner is Katie Lambert. So, all right, ready to get started?
Sure. And now, your top nerd news stories from around the world, brought to you by the Viridian Tea Company. Find them on Etsy. And now, your top nerd news stories. All right, what's stopping us off, Brian?
All right, well, you just recently saw Into the Spiderverse, right?
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
With your kids. How was it?
It was good. The kids stayed awake. It was funny. It was, I can't be like, it's the greatest movie ever. It was, it was cool. It was fun. I guess the things that kind of stick out is just really just, it's something for everybody. I guess, in this world we're living in now, just kind of give everybody feel like included, like it's an inclusive film. You've got Spider-Gwen, you've got Miles Morales. And so I think, I dread to go on the internet and see what the buttholes are out there saying. Because, there's always one. But, the movie was fun and it was well done as far as Nick Cage sucks though.
Does he?
He sucks. They should never use Nick Cage for anything. He was the Spider-Man noir.
Okay.
As soon as I heard Nick Cage's voice, I was just like, ugh. And of course, I'm sure Tuma Nick Cage is probably like, screw you. But I don't know. I'm done with Nick Cage and his voice.
All right, that's fair. But, the hype overall, because I haven't gotten a chance to see it yet, it just seems like it's really good. It's being well received.
Yeah. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I mean, it's not like it's something like, oh, God, I can't wait to get it when it comes out on DVD. I don't know. I mean, I wasn't blown away by it, but it was a fun movie. And you got to see Stan with his last cameo. So that was cool, too.
No, that's good. All right, well, you were mentioning the possibility of controversy. How about we get into a little controversy? They released a first look at the live-action Aladdin remake.
Why you got to be bringing that up?
With Will Smith, who has a squirrel on his chin. Like
it's not a squirrel. It's I don't know what it is.
Right.
It's not a squirrel.
Well, I mean, any thoughts on...
Look, I was kind of hard on it when it first started. I was like, oh, man, you can't have Will Smith in there. But I don't know. It's Will Smith. I think he might be able to pull it off. I want to see Will Smith make a cameo in the new Men in Black. That's all I want to see.
All right. Well,
so is he going to show up with a squirrel on his face? I mean, it's not a squirrel.
Speaking of the new Men in Black, the international trailer dropped this week. And, I mean...
Isn't that the name, though? Isn't it Men in Black International?
Yes.
Because it's in London.
Yeah, yes.
Men in Black. So that's going to be confusing. Is it going to be the international trailer?
Right.
International squared?
But, I mean, I don't know. I think it's if they are not trying to quote it as a reboot, if it's just going to be part of that Men in Black franchise, I'm kind of excited about it.
I'm curious as to Hemsworth's acting ability in this movie. It sounds like he's doing Thor. I mean, he makes like these... He's doing the dumb blonde thing like he does in Men in Black, except like, I wasn't sleeping. It seems like he's... You
mean like what he did in Ghostbusters?
Yeah, and Thor. I mean, there's Thors. They're they have their stupid blonde moments in Thor all the time too. You know, it's not the overarching character in Thor, but I think he does a lot of the stupid ditzy blonde stuff.
Yeah, but I thought he killed it in Ghostbusters. I thought,
yeah, no, I agree there, but I don't know. Just from the trailer, it looks like he's going to be. He sounds like Thor. The mannerisms, the talking, the way he inflects his words. Like when I saw him, just like, okay, is that his only character? Is that all he can do?
I don't know.
So I'm just curious about that. I'm gonna go see it because I like Men in Black.
Yeah,
you know? So
he does wield a hammer in the
does
trailer.
he really?
Yeah, you didn't,
I didn't
catch
see
it?
that. No.
Yeah, no. He picks up a hammer and he throws it at somebody.
Oh, that's right. He hits him in the head. He's like, nice catch. Is that what he threw?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
okay.
it was a tiny hammer, but
he sounds like he's doing the Thor character though. I don't know. Maybe it's just I've seen him in so many movies, but it was just the manner and inflections of how he was talking that made me think that it's like he's doing, you know, a Thor the dumb blonde, but for the whole movie, as opposed to like Thor can have, you know, wax poetic moments. But I don't know. I mean, I just want to see the movie because I like Men in Black, and I just want to see another one. I don't really need, you know, Will Smith and all them to be in it. I mean, that's the whole point. These guys retire. Bring in new blood. I'm fine with that.
Okay. Now, let's talk about something that's actually kind of interesting. There was a trailer that dropped this week for Netflix Korean zombie series called Kingdom, which looks like a mix of Seven Samurai and World War Z.
I thought it was a movie, but it's a series. I mean, all right. It looks awesome. I mean, it looks awesome. I want to watch it, but I'm going to get a headache reading.
What? So you can't handle subtitles?
I can. I'm a parent, dude. I have subtitles on everything. Even football games, I sometimes have subtitles on because kids don't ever shut up. They're loud. They're obnoxious. So I got to read. So, but look, I just, when I'm getting into a good show or movie like that, I like to have the subtitles to double check that I heard what I heard. You know,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, and the reason
having to just stare at the screen though, it detracts from because. The movie, the zombies, and just the visuals look amazing. And I feel that I would get distracted trying to read the damn subtitles as opposed to taking in the visuals of the movie.
Well, and of course, the reason that there are subtitles is because it's in the Japanese language. So
how dare they? Or is it the Korean language?
You're right, Korean, yes. So
but it looks like it's based in China. It looks like they're doing the Ming Dynasty or.
It does.
So I like the period piece of it.
So you don't think that we're weary of zombies after The Walking Dead and the Fear of the Walking Dead? No.
I think they just made some crappy story choices with The Walking Dead. People just kind of got burnt out on that.
Okay.
I don't think there's a zombie fatigue with good zombie movies.
Okay.
You know, I mean, I think there's, you know, we've had so many crappy zombie TV shows and movies that have just come out where it's just like trying to ride the train. I mean, this is a new spin. It's something that I haven't personally seen, so I'm kind of interested in that one.
Well, and of course, you know, seeing the zombies set in this, you know, samurai empire.
I still haven't seen Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies. I've got to see that. I've yet to see that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I kind of dig that.
Okay. Back to a little bit of controversy, Dave.
Jesus, Brian.
Yes. Look, we got to talk about
Christmas.
I know, but we got to talk about it. The Hellboy trailer dropped. Your thoughts?
Look, it's supposed to be funny, I thought. Everybody who's crybabying on the internet is just like, not my Hellboy. Whatever. Look, Ron Perlman is Ron Perlman. This new guy, he doesn't look like Ron Perlman, but he seems to deliver the jokes well enough, so I'm happy with that. I think and it looks badass when he gets summoned with the horns and the sword and all that stuff. I mean, I'm interested. It looks fun. And my 12-year-old even texted me after he saw the trailer. He's like, dude, we got to go see this.
Well, and so David Harbour is in the new role as Hellboy, right? He was from Stranger Things.
Yeah, yeah.
One of the interesting critiques, though, is about sort of the makeup and the bodysuit type stuff, and they're like, you cannot unsee his tiny hand, right? Because like the normal hand is very disproportionate in comparison to everything else. And
yeah, gas. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. That looks a little weird, but I mean, there's some good folks in here. Mila Jovovich is, of course, one of the villains or the villain.
Yeah, I don't know who she's gonna be, but
yeah, I'm interested. And once again, if they don't try to frame this as sort of a reboot and just a continuation of the stories, because, I mean, Hellboy went for hundreds of issues in the comic series. There's plenty of stories to tell.
Who knows what the hell they'll do? They'll probably do what they always do. Have some quick montage of his origin story, and then, because it looks like they're rebooting it, though, because Hellboy's getting introduced to the company again. He's going into. He's like, oh, what was it? Codswallop was the name of the place. She's like, can I see some ID, love?
Oh yeah,
really? Oh, Hellboy, bleep.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It seems like they're going to. It looks like a reboot, but I don't know. Whatever. It's Hellboy. It's Christmas, Brian. I'm not going to be angry about reboots.
All right, fair
enough. The Mandalorian, IG-88. I'm excited about that.
You are excited about that?
Dude, I want to see some of those guys. I want to see the guys that we don't know any stories about. Screw Han Solo. I want to see IG-88, Bosk. I mean, they had a bunch of stuff like in all the extended universe novels. Like Bosk had like a big fight with his dad. It was all kind of crazy stuff. Like they like a bunch of murderers. Like the whole Bosk family. So I want to see stuff like that. I want to see what happened with IG-88. I mean, I know what the books told me, but I don't know what they're going to do with this. But this is something I want to see because it's not the whole "I love you, I know" crap.
No.
It's not the merchandising movie that Han Solo was. Here, buy his blaster. Here, buy his dice that you really didn't realize that were in there.
Yeah, no, there is a lot of area to cover in the entire Star Wars universe, and we've only really seen the Skywalker saga. You're right. We see those bounty hunters for 3.5 seconds on screen during Empire.
Dengar. I want to see all those guys, man. And then you got, what was it, Zuckuss and somebody else. There was a couple of them that were a tandem bounty hunter, and like one of them, they had like psychic abilities, the little bug short-looking little guy. It was weird. Like all this stuff was in like a bunch of the books and stories and everything. So I'm excited about that. That's the only thing that's really got me excited.
All right, Dave, we're close to a commercial break. How can folks check out our show?
As always, we strongly urge you to check out the Facebook page, facebook.com/The Week in Geek. Check out our website at twigradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twigradio, and the Instagram's The Week in Geek. Now, Brian, how can people listen to this lovely show?
Well, once we're off the air, we're going to load this on to Spreaker.com, or you can download Spreaker for your smartphone or tablet. We're also on iTunes, YouTube, Google Play, Stitcher, WRNO.com, iHeartRadio, all that good stuff. All right, we got to go to a break, Dave.
Yay!
All right, guys, stay tuned. When we get back, we're going to have Skungy in his pick of the week. You're listening to The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO. Friends, is your morning tea just not your cup of tea? Then try the tea blends of Viridian Tea Company. At Viridian Tea Company, they sell blends guaranteed to make you think outside the box. With such blends as Tea of the Necropolis, Quantum Mechanics, Spider Witch, and many more, your tea experience will be out of this world. Look for the blends at Tubby & Coo's Mid-City Bookshop, located at 631 North Carrollton, or on Etsy at Viridian Tea Company. Try Viridian Tea Company today. Your taste buds will thank you.
Do you have a message or logo that you need the world to see? Then rely on the folks at Gretna Signworks to use their expertise to deliver your design. With over 15 years in business, Gretna Signworks can do commercial and yard signs, banners, screen-printed t-shirts, magnetic signs, vehicle graphics and lettering, and so much more. Gretna Signworks also has an exceptional network of suppliers, so no job is out of scope. Find Gretna Signworks on Facebook or visit them at 2125 Bell Chase Highway today.
Mata Hari, Agent H21, is a spy fiction short story anthology about the famous dancer, seductress, and spy from World War I. Mata Hari, Agent H21, published by Pro Se Productions, has 7 rip-roaring adventure tales about the world-famous super spy that features her battling her enemies by using any weapons at her disposal. Mata Hari, Agent H21 is available for purchase in ebook and paperback formats on Amazon.com.
You've waited for it, and now it's here. Get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt and help support our show. These 100% cotton black t-shirts with the Week in Geek Radio Show logo are going fast. So don't wait. Go to twigradio.com and order your shirt now. Just go to twigradio.com and get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt. $15 up to XL, $17 for 2X and 3X. That's twigradio.com.
Hey, this is Jason Douglas. Actually, this is Beerus the Destroyer, and you're listening to The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO.
Welcome back. You're listening to The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO. I am Brian Held, and where's Dave? He's in another production studio, but this is not his favorite part of the show anyway. So without much further ado...
Hi, am not what you would call a handsome man.
Skungy's Pick of the Week is brought to you by GameStop and ThinkGeek.com.
Skungy's Pick of the Week.
He might be an idiot savant.
Woohoo!
Skungy, what's shaking, bacon?
Not a whole lot. You know what? It's good we don't see that guy, Dave. I don't know if I like him too much.
All right, man. So what are we talking about this week in the world of video games?
All right. Well, so it's kind of like video games right now are kind of a barren wasteland. Around this time of year, there's nothing new really coming out. There are no AAA titles. Everything's been released because of the holidays. Companies like to have them come out early, so when Christmas does hit, they're not fighting because people aren't paying attention to the new games coming out. They're just paying attention to the games that are already out.
Well, but there's plenty out there for people to buy right now.
There's so much out there for people to buy, and I've talked about I've talked about just about all about the AAA titles from this year. So I actually wanted to talk a little bit about the indie titles.
Okay, yeah. I guess we don't give indies much time.
No, we don't, because it's a ocean is the best way to describe it of indie titles for all systems, for the Switch, the Xbox One, and the PlayStation 4.
Okay, well, and you got to include PC on that,
and
too.
PC as well, but a lot of these titles are available on all of them.
Well, that's cool, all right.
So, like, for instance, I'll just start out with the Switch real quick, which I've said previous segments, the Switch is the hot system this year. It is what everybody's looking for. It's what everybody wants. Now, where they don't have, say, as many AAA titles as the Xbox or the PlayStation 4, they have made up for it with the Nintendo Shop.
Okay.
There are so many games available on this system that you can download for as cheap as a couple of bucks.
Wow. All right.
You know, and they're indie titles. You're not gonna get a full 70 hours of dynamic gameplay or anything. The best way to describe it is that if you were familiar with the Super Nintendo, a lot of them feel like Super Nintendo games.
Okay.
Which is awesome in my opinion, because Super Nintendo was my favorite of all the vintage systems.
Well, I guess that makes sense for the Switch because of its portability, that you can have small, fun games that you can play on the go, right?
Absolutely. Just to give you a couple examples, there's this one game called Nefarious that came out not too long ago, which plays almost kind of like a Mega Man, a side-scrolling action-adventure. But the thing is that with this one, you're not playing the hero. You're playing the villain. You're playing the mastermind. And
nice.
And you're stealing the princess or whatever, and it's like in reverse. You steal her, and you're going through the level trying to get away from the heroes. And there are boss battles like you would have in all these things, except you're playing the bad guy in the boss battles.
Nice. Okay.
So that one's really cool, and that thing's like $10.
All right.
You know, they have stuff like that. They have a remastered game that came out not too long ago called Katamari Damacy Reroll.
Okay, that's the one where you're rolling around the earth and picking stuff up?
Yes, exactly. You're trying to make... So, the way that we've always described it, because it's a very Japanese game, the king of all the cosmos basically got drunk and destroyed all the stars in the sky. And you're the prince, and you have this little ball, and you have to go and roll up everything from starting with, like, carrots and, plates, and eventually you're rolling up houses and cars and mountains and everything to make these big, big balls to put in the sky and make the stars again.
Interesting.
But it also had great music, really catchy tunes and everything. It's a very Japanese game.
Okay.
Very Japanese game, but it's simple. You're just rolling around. It's little games like this that will flesh out the catalog of all of these systems.
All right, now let's talk PS4, right? Does it have a shop like the Nintendo deal?
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. And there are plenty of games available on the PlayStation 4 as well. One of the ones that it's actually came out a while ago called Nidhogg.
Nidhogg, all right.
This is a great party game, and it's something so simple. You've got two guys, they each have swords,
all right,
and they're going against each other, and it's one-hit kills. The whole point is just to get to the next screen, and it's side-scrolling, so you're going left or right, depending on which side you're on, and you're trying to get to the end, your end of the screen.
Okay.
And the whole point of it is so you could be the sacrifice for the huge worm, that Nidhogg that comes and eats you.
Okay.
So you're fighting each other to do this. But it's a great two-player game, a great little party game.
Yeah.
They've made that one, and then they made a second one.
Let me nerd out for a second. Yeah. Nidhogg as in the worm from the Yggdrasil?
Yes, absolutely.
Norse mythology? All right. Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
All right.
That's just one of the examples on the PlayStation 4 on all these systems. And Nidhogg's actually on all systems now. It originally came out on the PlayStation 4. Same thing with that Nefarious game. You can get that on the PlayStation 4 as well.
Okay. All right. What about Xbox? How's their indie game?
Man, they've got a couple of really good games that are out. All right, I am a big fan of these series with Bud Spencer and Terrence Hill. There was movies that came out called Boot Hill, My Name is Trinity, and Trinity's Still My Name. There were these westerns, these Italian westerns that came out in the 70s, 60s, and 70s. Well, they basically have a game of these guys just beating up each other. Just a simple 16-bit beat 'em up.
Okay.
That based off of that, and it's just, homage to that. And you can't do that with these AAA studios with these big budgets, but you can do silly stuff like that on these indie games. That's one of them. And then they had another one that just came out called Mutant Year Zero.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Mutant Year Zero is basically XCOM is the best way to describe it.
All right.
So you have the different abilities of these characters, and it's a tactic-based shooter.
Gotcha.
But unlike XCOM, where after the end of every mission you go and you go back to the base and you build up your base, you're constantly going through this world, and you're using actually stealth to get from point A to point B. And then you have these encounters that are very XCOM-esque, where, you're hiding behind cover, you have so much movement space, so much attack, what's your chance of hitting, what's your chance of not hitting. This game just came out a couple of weeks ago, and it is getting a huge amount of buzz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, I know the PC front is not your forte particularly, but 2019 should prove to be interesting. Steam is getting a lot of challengers in the game space as far as, was it Epic just put out a new store?
You have Epic, you have GOG, Good Old Games.
Right.
Every one of the big studios, basically, they're starting to have their own EA Origins.
Right.
You've got the Uplay from Ubisoft.
Bethesda has its own.
Bethesda has its own one. So the companies are finally catching wind of how much profit. I'm basically just going to say it straight out, profit. Steam makes a lot of money on these games because you don't have to worry about making a disc. So you can charge whatever price you want for it, and you can make it look like, I'm slashing the price of this when you really hardly paid anything for the game in the first place. So
right.
The overhead on it is humongous. So that's why Steam's so popular. Finally, these other companies decided, wait a minute, we want to get in on this too. And streaming is the future.
Right,
streaming
right.
and downloading is the future. Their disc-based games will be antiquated within the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
You're not going to have it anymore. It's going to be the same way. I mean, honestly, when was the last time you bought a CD?
Like for music?
Yeah, music, a physical CD.
Yeah,
when was the last time?
A very long time.
Now, 10 years ago, you would still buy CDs all the time, but you don't buy CDs anymore.
Right.
The same thing's going to be with video games eventually. It will probably be, if not this next console generation, which will go, I think, heavily to the stream one, but the one after that, it'll probably be all streaming.
Well, and I'm still shocked when I got my collector's edition of Fallout 76 that it had that steel case in it, and I'm like, why is this in here? I don't have any discs to put in this thing.
It's just so people can feel good about having that. I mean, steelbooks are collector's items.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Now, if they would have shipped it with, maybe if you opened up that steel case and it had an apology letter in it, that would have been
Right.
great. We're sorry that we made such a sucky game.
Right. No, that's fair. All right. We're getting close to a commercial. What is your number one most excited thing that you are looking forward to in 2019?
Oh, my God. I'm going to say it comes out really early in 2019 just because it's been like 12 years. Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out on the 29th of January. So that is in the forefront of it, but there's so many hot titles coming out. I mean, you've got Last of Us 2. You've got, Days Gone, which is a motorcycle zombie games. They've got so many games coming out that it's going to be a really, really, really good year in 2019.
Fantastic.
And it's going to start off really strong with that Kingdom Hearts.
Well, it's Skungy. It's Christmas time, and we're not going to fire you this week.
Really?
Yes, because we need you to come back next week and give us your top 5 of 2018.
It's the Christmas miracle.
It is. All right, guys. Stay tuned. When we get back, we'll have our first guest interview with Morla Gorrondona from She-Ra, Princesses of Power. You're listening to The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO.
On the edge of greatness, turning darkness to light. We're right beside you, ready to fight. We're gonna win in this. We must be strong and we must be brave. We must be brave. We could fight.
Friends,
Is your morning tea just not your cup of tea? Then try the tea blends of Viridian Tea Company. At Viridian Tea Company, they sell blends guaranteed to make you think outside the box. With such blends as Tea of the Necropolis, Quantum Mechanics, Spider Witch, and many more, your tea experience will be out of this world. Look for the blends at W&Q's Mid-City Bookshop, located at 631 North Carrollton, or on Etsy at Viridian Tea Company. Try Viridian Tea Company today. Your taste buds will thank you.
Do you have a message or logo that you need the world to see? Then rely on the folks at Gretna Signworks to use their expertise to deliver your design. With over 15 years in business, Gretna Signworks can do commercial and yard signs, banners, screen-printed t-shirts, magnetic signs, vehicle graphics and lettering, and so much more. Gretna Signworks also has an exceptional network of suppliers, so no job is out of scope. Find Gretna Signworks on Facebook or visit them at 2125 Bell Chase Highway today.
Mata Hari, Agent H21, is a spy fiction short story anthology about the famous dancer, seductress, and spy from World War I. Mata Hari, Agent H21, published by Pro Se Productions, has 7 rip-roaring adventure tales about the world-famous super spy that features her battling her enemies by using any weapons at her disposal. Mata Hari, Agent H21 is available for purchase in ebook and paperback formats on Amazon.com.
You've waited for it, and now it's here. Get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt and help support our show. These 100% cotton black t-shirts with the Week in Geek Radio Show logo are going fast. So don't wait. Go to twigradio.com and order your shirt now. Just go to twigradio.com and get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt. $15 up to XL, $17 for 2X and 3X. That's twigradio.com.
My name is Optimus Prime, and you are listening to the Week in Geek. Autobots, transform and roll out!
This is Brian Held from the Week in Geek radio show on News Talk 99.5 WRNO, and I'm joined tonight by a very special guest. She's a voice actress and a producer, Morla Gorrondona. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Wonderful. Now, we have a lot of stuff to get talking about, but I want to start off with the fact that while you're out in Los Angeles in the mix with all this voice acting, you're a New Orleans native.
I am, born and raised.
Oh, no, that's great. So how do you get here to there? Like, how'd you get started in the voice industry?
Well, I did a lot of theater in New Orleans. Did my very first play at Archbishop Chappelle High School when I was in, I think, 2nd grade. And then I got the bug from that, continued to do theater. I got my degree in theater from Ole Miss, moved to New York. And it was somewhere around in New York where I started auditioning for commercials, voiceovers for commercials. But I always loved to hang on to theater. I loved the characters, the broadness of characters, the depth of character that you get from theater. It wasn't until I was exposed to the game BioShock.
Oh yeah.
Where I just fell in love. It was I hadn't played games in a long time. I was a big NES girl, really huge into Bubble Bobble, Tetris. I dreamed in Tetris when I didn't realize how far games had come in the time that I had kind of put it aside. When I saw BioShock and understood the character development and the expansive narrative, then it was a big moment. I realized that that's where I wanted to put all my energy. So I just focused all my energy on voiceover, and specifically voiceover for games.
Nice.
And it's never looked back.
No, that's cool. And being a New Orleanian, we were talking previously, and you mentioned that you're sort of an ambassador for us out in Hollywood and some of the projects you've been on. You want to tell me a little bit about that?
That's true. There are 2 games in particular. The first was Infamous 2, where I learned the setting was New Marais, so it was like a fictionalized version of New Orleans. I heard that they were trying to make the game as authentic as possible. The audio team had hired Galactic to create the score. I had a feeling that they didn't have a New Orleans dialect expert on staff.
All right.
So I told them, where I'm from, and that I really build myself as the New Orleans accent expert. They hired me for that. So I wanted to make sure I knew that they wanted to make sure that they got it right. And I would help them with that. I did a number of different accents for that game. And then also on Wolfenstein 2, New Colossus, I was also hired because of my understanding of New Orleans accents for that as well. And there was even in that game, there was a line, the way that it was written, it was like this, I have a better, a couple of times it was like, I can think of a better way to say this, that as a local, this is a regionalism that we would use. And they're like, great, use it. Because oftentimes people talk about Southern accents and that it's a one size fits all kind of thing. So I make it my mission to point out that not only there are various regional dialects within the Southern dialect, that there are, every state has its own thing. And Louisiana in particular has a range of dialects and regionalisms within the state. And then within New Orleans, that's very separate. And people often confuse New Orleans accents with Cajun accents. They think that New Orleans and Cajun are like the same, that they're synonymous. And so I often try to make sure that it's very different, and that even within New Orleans that there are very distinct accents within neighborhoods.
Absolutely. And it's funny too, because I've been accused of having a New York accent or a Brooklyn accent, and I just think it's because of being a port city that we have such a range. So you're absolutely right. And look, thank you, because Hollywood so often gets it wrong with a lot of the productions that they do. So that's very important.
Well, it's when we know better, we do better. So just spread the information, and then hopefully it'll catch on.
No, absolutely. Now, when you do a lot of these parts, because you've got an impressive resume of voice work that you've done, Call of Duty, Guardians of the Galaxy, Halo, is this like solo work? Are you in the booth by yourself, or are you getting to work with a cast? How's that work out?
It depends. It depends on, usually for games, it's solo. I'm in a booth, and then the director, the engineer, the narrative staff is on the other side of the glass, and it's just me and a microphone. But with animation, that's usually done ensemble style, so that we can read off of each other and get really authentic reaction. However, with games, more and more ensemble is becoming not as uncommon, and particularly in things like performance capture or motion capture.
Right.
That is definitely done almost, it's more like theater than anything else that I've done. It's like coming full circle in my acting career. It's like, oh, now I've gone through voiceover, and it's all coming back to all my theater training as well. So it's been really great.
Well, and that makes total sense. I mean, we're just looking at all these video game properties that are coming out, and just the millions of dollars that go into the production, and of course the millions that they're making getting out there. I mean, it's almost an industry unto itself, right?
Oh, video games. Oh, sure. I mean, I think that there was a huge milestone marker when, gosh, I don't remember which game it was, but that video game, whatever the title was that was out, beat Avatar. Like Avatar was holding the record on most amount of money made in entertainment. And then there was I wish I could remember which title it was.
Was it like Skyrim or something like that?
Okay. I think actually it was Destiny. It might have been Destiny. Just blew it out of the water. Yeah, it's definitely, it's absolutely its own separate entity. I mean, games comes out of software development.
Right.
That's its basis. There's a lot of argument about whether games is entertainment industry or software. I grew up in games. My understanding of games is through development. I would attend like the Game Developers Conference, so I would understand how games are made as my way of how to be a good voice actor. I already have my education in theater, so I wanted to understand how games are made so I can understand the best way to contribute.
Right.
So I absolutely view games as something born out of software and toy as opposed to Hollywood.
Yeah. Now, you brought up being on an ensemble cast with animation, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on tonight, is that you got to be a part of DreamWorks' She-Ra Princess of Power on Netflix. Tell me about that experience.
Yes, I was a huge She-Ra fan back in the 80s, had the toys, would race home to catch every episode. And I remember when I got the audition for this character, I actually literally cried just at the excitement that it was going to be a reboot, not even barring whether I was going to be a part of it or not. I was so excited about it. And then the character that I read for, Light Hope, was originally a male voice, and it was this sort of light that didn't have any sort of body at all. And as I went through the audition process for Light Hope, I realized that she was she, and that was being reimagined in this brand new way. It was very exciting. So yeah, it's been really, really has been a childhood dream come true. Like, I feel I at one point I was watching the original She-Ra with my son, knowing that I was going to be watching the new version with my son, and like thinking about myself as a child and then him maybe watching it with his kids one day. And it felt very like I was very much a part of this continuum. It was very exciting, very emotional.
Well, and I think it's incredible. I actually did get to catch most of this season that was released, and I went and I stepped back and checked out like the first 5 episodes of the original She-Ra, and not only do I think that they did a great job in honoring the original, but they really did update it very well. I think it's got a very good message for today's kids.
Oh yeah, I mean that. Thank you. I feel the same way. I feel like the She-Ra, for what it was at that time, was unheard of. Like, it was really powerful. There was nothing like it. There was like female characters to relate to. I mean, we had Tila and He-Man, but it wasn't quite the same. So it was huge. And I do feel that the She-Ra and the Princesses of Power speaks to its audience well. The audience, there's a character in there for everyone to identify with. They can see themselves in those characters. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. So what's on the plate for you now? With any kind of projects you're working on? What's coming out of the gate?
Well, this year was a very exciting year for me. There was She-Ra and Call of Duty Black Ops 4. I also did a game earlier this year called Moss, which is an award-winning VR project with the Seattle-based developer Polyarc. And then I have a bunch of projects that are coming up. I'm incredibly excited about them. Of course, they're all under NDA, so I can't talk about any of them.
All right, fair.
2019 is also going to be a pretty big year. It already is so far, and I can't wait for everyone to catch what's coming up.
All right, well, we're getting close to a commercial break. How can folks keep up with all these great projects you're working on out on social media, if you give us all the links?
Well, my Twitter is @actor_Morla, and my website is morlagorrondona.com, which of course links to all my social media.
All right, awesome. Well, Morla, thank you so much for taking the time with us tonight. We really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks so much. It was great fun.
When we get back, we're going to close out the show with a very special interview with Mr. David Alpay. He's one of the many guests that you can see this upcoming Wizard World New Orleans this January 4th through 6th at the Ernest Morial Convention Center. Go to wizardworld.com for more information and to buy tickets. Stay tuned. You're listening to The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO. Mess up all rest for a second chance. Come on, hit you with that stream of blue, get your damage enhanced. If your health bar needs a boost, and just friends, is your morning tea just not your cup of tea? Then try the tea blends of Viridian Tea Company. At Viridian Tea Company, they sell blends guaranteed to make you think outside the box. With such blends as Tea of the Necropolis, Quantum Mechanics, Spider Witch, and many more, your tea experience will be out of this world. Look for the blends at W&Q's Mid-City Bookshop, located at 631 North Carrollton, or on Etsy at Viridian Tea Company. Try Viridian Tea Company today. Your taste buds will thank you.
Do you have a message or logo that you need the world to see? Then rely on the folks at Gretna Signworks to use their expertise to deliver your design. With over 15 years in business, Gretna Signworks can do commercial and yard signs, banners, screen-printed t-shirts, magnetic signs, vehicle graphics and lettering, and so much more. Gretna Signworks also has an exceptional network of suppliers, so no job is out of scope. Find Gretna Signworks on Facebook or visit them at 2125 Bell Chase Highway today.
Mata Hari, Agent H21, is a spy fiction short story anthology about the famous dancer, seductress, and spy from World War I. Mata Hari, Agent H21, published by Pro Se Productions, has 7 rip-roaring adventure tales about the world-famous super spy that features her battling her enemies by using any weapons at her disposal. Mata Hari, Agent H21 is available for purchase in ebook and paperback formats on Amazon.com.
You've waited for it, and now it's here. Get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt and help support our show. These 100% cotton black t-shirts with the Week in Geek Radio Show logo are going fast. So don't wait. Go to twigradio.com and order your shirt now. Just go to twigradio.com and get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt. $15 up to XL, $17 for 2X and 3X. That's twigradio.com.
Welcome back to The Week in Geek. Don't forget, you can listen to previous episodes on the iHeartRadio app at The Week in Geek Radio Show. Here are your hosts, D Squared and Brian Held.
Welcome back into The Week in Geek, your source for geek and pop culture news that's trending now. I am D Squared along with
Brian Held.
Brian Held. We have a very special guest on the line.
We absolutely do. You may know this gentleman from things like The Vampire Diaries or The Tudors. He's actor and producer David Alpay. How are you, sir?
I am fabulous. How are you guys? It's so great to be on your show, David and Brian. The Week in Geek.
Oh,
yes.
It's just the kind of place I want to be.
Oh.
For exactly the amount of time that I want to be there.
Nice. So, I mean, you have a whole ton of acting credits going all the way back to 2002. How did you get into acting?
It's funny, actually. I was in university, and I was studying something very different, and I was having a really hard time focusing. I was in cognitive science and artificial intelligence at U of T. It was a new program then. And I was really bad at computer programming. It turns out I can't program a computer.
I'm right there with you, man. Right there with you.
You know, is that okay to admit on a Week in Geek show?
Quite all right.
It's cool because I'm the professional geek and David is not.
I'm not the tech geek.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. So it's like a left brain, right brain situation.
Yeah.
So there was a friend of mine in my linguistics class who had written a play, and she said, you should audition for it. And I said, what? So I auditioned for it. I got the play, and then I did another play, and then I did some more plays. And then I really sort of started to like it, and it was just a fun way to escape all the really heavy stuff that I had to do at school, and then it just kind of took over. And, you know, all these years later, I have this, like, IMDb page with, like, a bunch of credits on it. It's crazy.
Well, yeah, and to kind of dig in a little bit, you mentioned not necessarily being a tech geek, but you do have some geeky credits. I mean, vampires, history. I mean, are you that kind of geek? Are you into history and kind of fantasy, sci-fi, all this stuff?
I was always into science. I loved human bio. I loved zoology. Those were my two majors in university. I loved math, and I was really good at physics. There was something about there's a long line of engineers and accountants in my family line for some reason. I just kind of came out on the other end of it. So it was always easy for me, and, you know, it attracted me. Yeah, and so it's funny too, right? So a lot of the roles that I play are kind of a little bit more studious and, you know, sometimes nefarious.
Right.
Sometimes.
No, that's cool. Now, you do have, I thought this was interesting, you have a Call of Duty credit. You were a voice in the video game. Right?
Yeah, that's right. So Call of Duty World War II came out last November, and I played Major Crowley, who is a British Secret Service agent, and, you know, at the founding of the Secret Service, really then during the Second World War. That was a great role. That was so much fun. We worked on that for about 18 months, and we couldn't talk about it to anybody.
Right.
We had signed all these NDAs and everything, so I was like all excited because I had friends who like play video games, and I couldn't tell them that I was in Call of Duty. I couldn't even lie and say I was in a video game that rhymed with like Mall of Booty or whatever.
Nice. Now, were you able to work with a cast, or was it just you in the booth?
So So yeah, we did work with. It was really interesting. It's performance capture is what they're calling it.
Oh, nice.
And you wear these neoprene suits. You've got little markers all over your body and something that resembles a microchip that like is Velcroed onto your suit. And you're in a room with all the other actors, and you're surrounded by, like, imagine, oh God, I mean, it's half the size of a football field. It's quite big. And they call it the volume. And you're surrounded by this giant scaffolding that has about 300 cameras hanging on it. Wow. Digital, video SLR cameras that capture the position of every little marker on your body relative to that little microchip, so they know it's you based on,
Wow.
And then you're doing the actions, you're doing everything. Everything has to be done in one take. If there's anything wrong, if any one person's performance isn't quite right, they redo the entire thing all over again. And so it's not at all like traditional film where, somebody messes it up. It's okay because you're going to turn the cameras around and you'll get it in the next take, and it doesn't have to be perfect, and you can edit it together. In this world, you're shooting everything in 3D, essentially. Everything has to be right all the time so that the player can look around, right?
Yeah.
It's always consistent. There's continuity. And that really blew my mind. So in some ways, it's like very efficient, and in other ways, you would think, well, we could fix this if this was traditional film, but they can't. They have to do it all over again every single time. And the performances were amazing. Josh Duhamel, we had a bunch of great actors on this. And, it was like we were shooting a movie. The acting is amazing, and it looks incredible. I mean, it's so realistic. It's frightening.
That's
because you're sitting there going, oh yeah, I get it. Like, they're not going to need us in 20 years, maybe less. This is not Donkey Kong. This is not Super Mario Brothers. This is like the next level. It's amazing.
It's radio, and you can't see us, but both of our mouths were wide open when you started explaining this whole process to us. I mean, that's insane. I would hate to be the one guy who kept messing it up.
Well, and Adobe is working on replicating voices right now. Oh, yeah.
Are we going to be out of work?
Yeah, we're going to be out of work, too. We'll be hanging out with David in the bread line.
Man, come over. Well, yeah, we'll finally learn how to program Java.
Yeah. There you go.
That's on the to-do list.
Coffee.
Yeah. Now, you recently got into the world of producing. You have something coming out next year called Art Officially Favored. Can you talk about that?
It's a documentary about a street musician in Berkeley, California. It's been in the works for a little while, and we'll see where that goes. Sometimes projects take a little bit longer than you want them to. So we'll see about that one. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's say 18 months. You did that for the video game, so sometimes it takes longer than you would think. We're visiting with David Alpay. Really. Now, David, you're going to be in town for Wizard World January 4th through the 6th.
Yes, that is correct. At the Ernest Morial Convention Center. Yes, sir.
That's right.
Man, I'm batting 1,000. This is the best interview ever.
Yes.
I know. So are you guys close to there? Is your studio?
Yes.
We could walk to the convention center from our studio. Yeah.
So last January, I stayed at the Hampton Inn and Suites across the street from there. I was filming another pilot for Sci-Fi. And I know the area a little bit. It's great. And now I finally got to go inside and see what it looks like inside the convention center. I'm really excited. Yeah, so it's Friday through Sunday. And listen, if people are, scrambling at the last minute to buy Christmas presents, this is a great Christmas gift for that friend who loves to binge watch TV and movies. We've got actors from my show, The Vampire Diaries, Ian Somerhalder, Paul Wesley, Daniel Gilly, Zach Rohrig. There's actors from iZombie, from Luke Cage, from Outlander. That's a big hit. In my house, my parents love that show. It's really awkward, though. Every time there's a sex scene, I have to go upstairs. The original Charmed, Power Rangers, Erin Cahill from Power Rangers. I did a Christmas movie for Hallmark with Erin a few years ago called Sleigh Bells Ring, and she is amazing, and she's going to be there, and I can't wait to see her because I haven't seen her in like a year.
All right.
So, if you're looking for something to get somebody on your list, you take them with you, get some autographs, get selfies. There's seminars, there's workshops. I'm having a workshop there. It's not really a workshop. It's really a giant pizza party where we play Cards Against Humanity and eat a ton of pizza. And people can buy tickets online at the Wizard World website. And just like come and have fun. It's just a great time and place for people to geek out, and there's no judgment, and everybody has a great time. You can't really say that for a lot of activities these days. So that's why I love it, and that's what I'm hoping to have there.
Absolutely, and it's funny. They also announced another guest, and needless to say, I had like 4 of the sales ladies come up to the studio today. She's like, can you get Jason Momoa over here? I'm like, I don't know him. They just let him. It's just a press release, y'all. I don't know. I want to meet him too.
They just announced that Jason Momoa is going to be there. So he's huge. I mean, it doesn't get bigger than that right now. So I'm very excited to meet him in the green room and steal a brownie from him or something. I don't know. See what happens.
Just push me. Say, get out of my way, newbie.
Yeah. So I got one last question, and this one's kind of strange because, we were doing our research on you, man, and you have one credit that I just have to ask about. It is an archive footage called Weird Sex and Snowshoes, a trek through the Canadian cinematic psyche.
Isn't that amazing?
What is it?
Would you believe I've never seen it? I don't know. I just get these residual checks every 5 years from somebody who sold a copy of it. The first movie I ever did is this brilliant film that you can still find, I think, on iTunes. It's called Ararat.
All right.
About the Armenian genocide and all this stuff. And there were a couple, grown-up scenes in that movie. And I suppose one of them was referenced in this documentary called Weird Sex and Snowshoes about sex in Canadian films, because that's the thing that happens in a lot of Canadian movies is there's a lot of sex. I just did a movie last year called Birdland up in Canada that is also available online, and it's a very darkly sexy movie. So, people have nothing else to do tonight, they can check that out. It's a thing we do in Canada. We don't have budgets, I guess, for really big action sequences, so our action sequences take place in the bedroom. There you go.
Curse our puritanical values down here. I want sex movies. Damn it.
No, I mean,
in New Orleans. Don't play games.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about it, Dave. It's always cold up there, right? You stay indoors a whole lot.
Warmth, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. See, now it all makes sense. Just tumbles right into place.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, David, we do have to get going, but how can folks out there keep up with you out online on all these projects you're working on?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. At Dave Alpay on Twitter, at David Alpay on Instagram, and check me out on Fox starting February 15th on a new show called Proven Innocent with Kelsey Grammer and Rochelle Lefebvre. It's a really cool show.
Yeah,
I'm really proud of that.
That comes out February what?
15.
February 15, exactly.
Yes.
Man, that sounds fun. Well, David, I can't wait till you come in town. Maybe we'll all go, I don't know, throw tuna at Jason Momoa. I don't know. We'll find something fun to do, though.
Well, you guys should come to Wizard World and come to my booth and say hi, and we will definitely do all those things. I look forward to it. David and Brian, I'm counting on seeing you guys there. Are you going to come?
Absolutely,
we will absolutely be there. Yes, consider it a date.
Look, we aren't just show hosts for the Week in Geek. We're big giant Uber nerds. So we've been holding it down for a long time, taking our lumps coming up as kids. So we got this, buddy. We got you.
Awesome, guys.
All right, thanks so much,
for
guys.
having me on your show.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, Brian, we got to get out of here. Merry Christmas to everybody from the Week in Geek. Huh?
Absolutely. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays, everybody.
Till next time, keep your nerd flag raised high.
GFL.
This year has been a little crazy for the Andersons. You may recall we had some trouble last year. The Robot Council had us banished to an asteroid. That hasn't undermined our holiday cheer. And we know it's almost Christmas by the marks we make on the wall. That's a
Walton and Johnson, making mornings great on News Talk 99.5 WRNO FM, New Orleans. An iHeart radio station.